main road, so I was anticipating this road being the worst of all, but this is our last stretch before we get back to the highway. Hey guys, so I'm back for part 2 of Land Rover Discovery 2 modification. The first video I made on this has been really popular. I got about 50,000 views now on it. Tons of comments, questions, all sorts of stuff. Since I made that video, I've made some very significant changes to the Discovery. Even though it doesn't really look like it. It's still got the same bumpers and everything. And before you watch this video, if you got a little bit extra time, go watch the part 1 of this. It'll talk to you about the front rear bumpers that I made, the high lift jack, spare tire carrier, which I don't have the jack on there right now, and a few of the other modifications to make those stuff work. I've done some significant changes to especially the rear suspension, put a new engine in the truck. I'm going to go through and show you all the modifications that I've made one by one, and we'll go from there. So the biggest modification I made this year to this truck was I installed a new engine. I bought this engine from a guy up in North Carolina named Neil, who built it. It is a 4.6 liter stock displacement, but it has Turner Engineering top hat cylinder sleeves. If you know anything about the 4.6 liter Land Rover Discovery engines, especially the 4.6s, but the 4.0s also, is they have a tendency to drop cylinder sleeves out of the block, the contact, crank, blows head gaskets, makes a whole bunch of problems. So that's a real good fix for this. Got quite a bit of money put into this motor swap, because I did new motor mounts, coil, plug wires, you know, all the stuff that goes along with a motor swap. So that's really the most expensive modification I made this year, but it has been absolutely awesome. The truck's been running amazing. Wind is cold. So the truck's been running really good with the new engine, been really happy with it. So, new engine. One of the next modifications I did is I got Torque Pro app for my phone, and I got a Bluetooth OBD2 adapter, which just plugs in down here in the OBD2 port and allows you to monitor all the engine vitals. On here I got coolant temp, RPM, mass airflow sensor, air intake temperature, voltage, and GPS speed. I got GPS, latitude, longitude. You can take your coolant temp and make a little floating widget, which you can just leave displayed on the phone. So cool little system there. Another modification I made is an oil pressure gauge, mechanical oil pressure gauge. This is tapped into the side of the timing cover and draws fluid from there. I'll show you some pictures of that, but I've been really happy with that. It's nice to have a mechanical connection to the oil pump. But other than that, the truck's been running great, so it's just nice to be able to monitor all the vitals of the truck as you're driving down the road. Another significant modification made to the Rover is I installed a winch in the bumper. When I built this bumper, I didn't have a winch to put on it, but I built it to accept a winch. This is a cheap Vortex 12,000 pound winch I got from a buddy of mine. It mounts up in here really nice. It's tucked back in there. Had to do some modification to the core support and to the grill to get it to fit, but I love the way it tucks up under the bumper. And I've used it, shoot, 5 or 6 times now to get myself out of some pretty sketchy situations.
Did you even try to back up any?
Yeah, a little bit. I probably could have gotten back a little bit more. So this was something that I wanted to do, and I'm really happy. This is the first time I've ever had a truck with a winch on it. and it gives you an extra bit of confidence when you go out four-wheeling, especially by yourself, just to make sure that you're gonna be able to get yourself out of a sticky situation. While we're up front, you can see I got some lights mounted in the grill and some lights on the windshield. I'm a volunteer firefighter for the city of Bonifay, Florida, and these are my firefighting lights. Real happy how those turned out. I'll flip them on for you. Let's see. So I got those lights set up like that, and I got some lights in the back as well. Yeah, you see I got some lights mounted in the back as well. Another significant modification I made to the Rover this year was installed a snorkel. I made a video about this. I made this homemade. Buddy Aaron gave me the idea for it. It's made out of PVC. It's been truck bed linered. Been super happy with it. Now so far the paint's been really durable. I've been drug it through some stuff, and the paint's been holding up really well, which is one of my main concerns with kind of using the PVC, but I'm really happy with that. Got a whole video on this if y'all want to check that out. But really happy. Designed it after the Mantech style, but I just didn't want to fork out the money, so that's what I came up with. Another modification I did is I blacked out the hood with some spray-on truck bed liner, and I installed some LR4 style vents, the fender vents in the hood, just to allow a little bit more cooling of the engine. There was some concerns about water drainage and stuff that people had brought up, but I mounted these in very specific location. I've had zero issues with any sort of water egress coming into the engine compartment. And God knows it stays plenty wet in there when you're driving in the rain and stuff, so really happy how that turned out. The clear coat was pretty bad in that section of the hood, so nice flat matte truck bed liner finish. Really happy with it. Can't remember if these are in the video part 1 or not. I got these wired in as my reverse lights. They're just some cheap auto parts store LEDs. Then I also installed these. I have these wired in through the rear fog light, the red lights that were mounted in the factory bumper, into the factory switch. I call these my turn off your high beam asshole lights, and they do a really good job of that. As you can see, they are plenty bright. LEDs never really come through good on camera, but number one, these are great for just backing up at night. You can flip them on, it just lights everything up behind you. And number two, if you get somebody behind you, your high beam's on, boy, that'll get them turned off in a hurry. Alright guys, so one of the biggest modifications I did to the rear suspension this year was I eliminated the Watts linkage and installed the custom panhard bar setup. Bought the kit from Rough Stuff Specialties and boxed in the frame with some 3/16 plate. Welded that mount into the rear of the frame. All that mount there to the axle. It's got 7/8 rod ends, chromoly rod ends. Been super happy with this setup. It's ultra durable. Those rod ends are only 20 bucks a piece to replace when they wear out. I did new sway bar links, sway bar bushings in the back. I did the extended Atlantic British brake lines back here and ABS wires. I also did the plus 3-inch terra firma adjustable shocks, which I'll show you from a different angle here. So here are the terra firma plus 3-inch adjustable shocks. Right there's your adjustment knob. Been super happy with these shocks, man. They've just been top notch. And I also upgraded to from the medium duty plus 2-inch springs in the rear to the plus 2-inch heavy duty springs in the rear. I really like this setup. These springs ride just as good as the medium duties, so I can handle a lot more weight in the rear of the truck without it squatting real bad. And that was evidence when we went up to North Carolina this fall, pulling a trailer with my motorcycle on the back, fully loaded for a week of camping. So I'm really happy with those HD springs. And as you can see, with the heavy duty springs in the rear and the medium duty springs in the front, the truck actually sits nice and level, and when we load it heavy, it doesn't have any issues handling the weight. I also installed some rock sliders on the truck. These came off a 95 Discovery 1. I had to shorten them in the front by about 4 inches wider than that. They bolt up right in place, and I love the square tubing on the tree bars that match my front and rear bumpers. So everything just kind of matches together. These are super heavy duty. It's a big piece of rectangle tubing with the square tubing welded on the outside. Wife and kids like them because they use them as their step to get up in the truck. Did eliminate the mud flaps, but no big deal. Out of that same 95 D1 that I got the rock sliders from, it had this Tom Woods front drive shaft, so I ripped that out. You got to swap out the drive flange, which is just undo the nut and swap it out. Installed it. I'm super happy with it. You have to put a new U-joint up front, but been a really good drive shaft, and it'll handle any additional lift in the future if I want to go any bigger with the lift. Also, the factory muffler came apart on me, so I installed this Dynamax. I'll annotate the part number, but it was almost a direct fit, which is really cool, and just had to weld it in place, and gives the truck a pretty nice sound. There's a sway bar in links I replaced. We put a new Rotoflex bushing in it. Did ball joints and axle seals up front this year also. So I completely did away with the CB radio, and I've been using this 8-watt handheld Baofeng ham radio programmed to FRS and HRMS, and GRMS, and have this nice Wuxen mic that goes with it, and that's all we've been needing out in the trails. And like I said, I completely did away with the CB radio. Just wasn't happy with the reception, wasn't happy with the range, didn't feel like investing the time and money into a proper CB setup. So this handheld Baofeng, it's the ticket, does the job well. Now, of course, we added to the sticker collection substantially. We got that window filled up. We got Rover's North, Roan Mountain, Discovery Owners Club, Rough Stuff Specialties, Nitto Tires, Tom Woods Drive Shaft, Center Steer Podcast, Lucky 8, Linville Gorge is where we went, Mount Mitchell, Roan Mountain, Grayton Beach, Hot Springs, North Carolina, Vortex Springs, Florida, Bullets and Bones, my favorite range. Some more local stickers back here. Alloy and Grit. Some stickers from Overland Expo, Carolina Hemlocks Campground. My personal favorite, built not bought. Shout out to Courtney Taylor for making some awesome vinyl decals. Well guys, that's pretty much it for the modifications that we've done to the Rover so far. 2017 is over, we're on to 2018, and got a lot of plans for this year. But first, I got finished building a new motor for my wife's new 03 D2, which is going to be a whole project in itself. But the original motor that came out of Red Rover is tore down in my garage. The crankshaft was bad, that's where the knock was coming from in this motor originally. Got a new crank from Victor, appreciate you buddy, and it's going to the machine shop Tuesday, which is tomorrow, January 2nd. And once I get the crank back, we can start putting that motor back together. The wife's going to get that white one for her, this one's going to be for me. We're going up a little bit in suspension height. Want to go to a bigger tire. Want to do some HD steering, some skid plates, diff guards, and maybe start getting into some lockers and axles and that kind of stuff too. So far we've had 0 trail breakages out wheeling this thing. It's not hard, but pretty good. But it's been to North Carolina 3 or 4 times, 4 times now. And in October this year we're going to upstate New York with plans on hoping to get to the Adirondack Mountains and maybe over into Vermont, which maybe we can get on some of those badass roads up there in Vermont. So lots to look forward to in 2018, guys. Appreciate all your views and all your support, and be looking for some more Land Rover video in the future. Thanks, guys.